Heavy is the head that has to manage all of this.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel.
We're now incentivized to buy what we already buy.
Fumbling through college had me building.
I also got some done on the other side.
And that was right around, I would say, May, maybe, right before renewing the lease for this property.
Welcome to the channel, Martha.
Thank you for having me here.
Oh, I was going to say, I am getting up there in age, I'll tell you what.
Bills paid by other people, life was never this good. I had to step back.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my podcast. Welcome back to my show. I say podcast because we're now on Spotify podcasts for our listeners. And we're on Rumble. We're also on YouTube. Ironically, the first platform that I've ever received a comment from, I think, was Rumble. Then it was YouTube. And because Spotify is so new, have not received anything on there yet. But the link is in the description below, so you can sign up for that Spotify podcast that I am hosting. I would love to see you there. Today we're going to talk about the American spending budget for back-to-school shopping reaching $39 billion. Now, it sounds huge, but it's actually down from what we actually spent just last year. And what we spent last year on back-to-school shopping was $41 billion. So to go to $39 billion means a few things. One, it means that Americans are crunching the numbers. They're spending less money. A big thing right now is that Americans are looking for deals on their back-to-school shopping. They're not just going out here and buying whatever it is that they so please. No, they're looking for discounts. They're looking for bundles. They're looking for ways to buy a backpack and books at the same time for 10% or 20% off. Another thing is that each American household is spending about $890 per household. Now, some news outlets did cover this topic, and they were talking about college kids going to school and how they would need furniture and things of that nature. I think that the news is so out of touch with reality. I only believe that maybe 20 to 30% of kids are going to have their parents furnishing their rooms, right? I mean, at most, you'll get like a foam memory foam to put under your mattress or something like that. But for the most part, parents aren't buying you a brand new bed when you are already supplied a twin bed. They're not buying you any of these other things that the news outlets are suggesting. A lot of this is going to come down to basic things like school supplies first and foremost. You got your rulers, your calculators, your notebooks, your pens, your book bags. And then uniforms, if you have uniforms. Afterwards, you want to look at shoes, sneakers. When you go back to school, you don't want your child to be dressed as though they don't have clothes or they're not clean at home. And so those are the biggest things that really do impact that cost that we see there. And then on top of that, children grow out of clothes very, very quickly. So if you're not buying a size up, it's safe to say that you will be running through a check very, very quickly because, yes, children do grow and they grow at a rapid speed. I remember my parents used to buy a size up. So if I was a size 5, I'd be wearing a 6. The last shirt I had was a 4. Then the next shirt I'll have is a 6. Because if I no longer fit the 4, I'll be in a baggy 6 until I grow into the 6. And then when I grow out of the 6, I'll get an 8. Right? That's how they did it. And to be honest, probably saves you on half the cost. Because now you don't have to run through as many clothes. And as the second oldest, I also got the hand-me-down. So that also saved my parents on a lot of costs as well in that regard. And so, there are ways to save money, parents. There are ways to save money. Another thing that I do want to talk about on the topic of saving money is certain things that are able to help families. Now, there are food pantries available in many, many states. In my state, I saw a food pantry the other day when I was leaving the gym. I said to myself, you know what? Let me go ahead and see what they have to offer. I had bought groceries about a week prior, and when I buy groceries, I buy it for more than a week. But I was like, let me go to the food pantry, see what they have available. By the time I tried to drive through that line, because it was like a car drive-through food pantry, that line was wrapped so long. It was so long. I just decided to drive home because I don't really need it. And so, taking from people who absolutely need it and are willing to wait in such a long line, it didn't sit right with me. And I say all that to say because a lot of people won't tell you, like, I went to a food pantry. Like, to me, it doesn't matter. You know why? Because I know I have the money to buy anything that I want. And so, the stigma of, oh, this person is going to think of me a certain way, it absolutely has no effect on me. In fact, most people with money don't care if you think that they're broke, because we know we're not. And we can prove it at any time, but we probably won't, because if we had to prove it every single time, we probably would be broke. Right? I'm not going to the club and spending $1,000 to prove that I have $1,000. I'm just not doing it. I'll show you my bank account and it's going to be right there the next time I have to show somebody else. You understand? And so we just do things a different way. And to be honest, a lot of people can make more money than the person that they're taking a lot of financial advice from. Your financial advisor probably makes $70,000 to $80,000 a year. The difference is how much you keep, not how much you make, not how much you earned last year. I don't want to know that you made $500,000 2 years ago and you're trying to make it again. What did you make last week? What are you making consistently? Right? And so, when we talk about back to school, this can be tough because it is a strain. It is something that a lot of the times people don't prepare for, because 50% of people don't prepare for the future, which is already tough in itself. Can you imagine not being prepared and then having to cough up $890 like that? That's insane. I would hate to be unprepared for that expense. That would lead to having to take out credit card debt. To not be prepared leads to an emergency situation that didn't have to be an emergency. And so it is always best to be prepared and not make excuses for your actions. And so I brought up the food pantry because, a lot of the times people will say, hey, I need food, I need this, I need that. Well, food pantry is just one example of how you can save some money while you're getting ready for back to school. Another example is going to school drives. A lot of the times these people are giving out backpacks, maybe 1 or 2 notebooks, a few pencils. Teachers will also give you a pencil. I've never been to a school where someone didn't have a pen or a pencil to lend me. Now, I'm not saying that first day of school you should be there, no pencil, no pen. But if that is the case for you, you shouldn't be ashamed to say, hey, I'm struggling in this regard. I know it's $1 or $2 or whatever the case may be, but you need some assistance, seek assistance. Another thing I wanted to mention is, in the medical side of things, if you're needing some medical attention and you're not on a government thing like Medicaid or Medicare, or I think it's Medicaid for those on the medical plan. Medicaid or Medicare? I think it's Medicare for those who are just under some financial hardship. But at the same time, there are sites like findhelp.org that, have donations, have fundraisers to help with medical conditions, things of that nature, and help you seek certain, reliefs. And so there are things out there to support you all. Now, if you're religious, you can speak to your local, entities in order to help you facilitate what it is that you need done. Sometimes all it takes is a little bit of spiritual belief in order to get your mind right, refocus, in order to tackle what you have going on. Because when we see $39 billion in back-to-school shopping, we automatically assume everyone has it and everybody's just living lavish. But the truth is, it's a decline, which means people are not spending what they used to spend. They're looking for discounts, they're looking for deals, they're hurting. And right now they're hurting more because they have to do this thing in order to support those that they love the most. So when it comes to that, I do have a heart for that. And I really want to say that if you are struggling, look for those resources to go ahead and support you through these times. But in the same regard, kudos to you for looking for those discounts, looking for those deals, and being smart shoppers. But don't only do this when we're at an inflationary period, when interest rates are super high, and when the when the Fed is raising rates at an alarming rate to the point where they're now looking to cool down in September. Don't only do it when unemployment is over 4% and the likelihood of you having your job next month is not as strong as it was last year. Do it all the time so that when the time comes, you're more prepared, you're more financially stable, you're in a better position to really tackle your environment. And I wish you all the best. This is one of those things where it's not just a numbers crunching game. You have to really understand what the people are really going through at this time. Back to school is a very, very expensive time, right along with Thanksgiving, Christmas, birthdays, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, and everything else in between day. So, this is a big one. Those school trips won't be cheap either. But, I'm wishing you all the best in this upcoming school year. And I appreciate you all for tuning in. If you like the video, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I post every single day at 8 a.m. daily on YouTube, Rumble, and on Spotify. And I can't wait to see you on the next one. Peace.